My reason to be here is the same as that of your elder brother or your sister being allowed to do things that you're not allowed to do at home. I'm like them, older, that's all. So if you think that I have had a successful career, as I was getting very embarrassed when David was recounting, because also it's been so many years since I've got an award now, yeah? This is like, gotta work harder. So also if you think I've had a successful career, a great past performance and my experiences of it are no assurance that it will work in the future for you or work for you at all. And anyway, none of what I say today you will remember as soon as you're out of here. Or maybe even earlier, because you're still sleeping from the big party you guys had last night. What I say may make sense to your mom or dad, who will remember it some years down the line, and they will also remember it for all the inappropriate things that I'm going to say tonight. But you are here, and so am I, so I promise to keep this extremely crisp and short. 20 minutes, tops. But be rest assured, I understand if some of you walk out in the middle of my speech for bladder control reasons. Feel free to do that. Feel free, because that's what essentially my talk is about. Feeling free. The freedom to be yourself. To listen to your inner voice and never let anyone tell you who you are or who you ought to be, including me. These are the only years of your life in which you will be allowed to make regret-free mistakes. As you do so, you will chance upon your dreams and hopefully make a happy life out of their fulfillment. When you get to be 50, as some of your parents are, none of the mothers, they all look 35. They're all looking extremely hot. Some of your parents are, and like I am, you will know that the bulk of your regrets are from not having done what you wish to do. So don't hold it against your over-diligent father who's telling you to study extra even post the exams. Your annoying mother who's still depressed that your handwriting is bad. You know, she doesn't understand. If it was bad 5 years ago, chances are that your handwriting is not going to improve for the rest of your life, ever. Ma'am, get that clear. It's not going to happen. But let me assure you, squiggles and ants and mosquitoes on paper won't kill your career. Any doctor here will tell you, indecipherable hieroglyphics may actually be a career booster. Don't be angry that your parents tell you that friend of yours is not good company, he is spoiling you. And please don't hold it against them when they tell you, he's a movie star's son, he'll become a hero, what about you? I mean, let me assure you, movie stars, sons and daughters also have to work. Basically, just don't grudge the old man and the old bag, ever. All us parents try to do is to make you happy with your choices by annoying you with ours that are actually your choices anyway. But you just don't know it yet. Your hormone levels are too high for you to understand this confusing logic. All you want to be is yourselves, and you're quite sure you know what that is. And I'm here tonight on your side only to confirm your conviction as you set forth into the big bad world from the loving shelter of Mrs. Neeta Ambani and all these wonderful and beautiful and warm teachers and faculty who have nurtured you to embark on your own journey through life. I was talking about parents because I think tonight is about parents. So I'm going to tell you something about about my parents. My mother was top class. She was really cool. She loved me unconditionally, was beautiful like all mothers are, and believed I will be the most famous man in the world and I could do no wrong. In Delhi they say, Hamara bachana is like the apple of my eye. Some Punjabi ladies make it bigger, like the pineapple of my eye. So I was the pineapple of my mother's eye. And my father was a gentleman. He was very educated, masters in law, extremely intelligent, knew 7 languages, had traveled the world, knew his politics, fought for the freedom of our country, India, and excelled at sports like hockey, swimming and polo. He could cook and recite poems and knew the capital of every country in the world. My father was also very, very poor. He was unemployed and struggling to make ends meet for 15 years of my life that I had the privilege of knowing him. From when I was 10 to when I was 15, not being able to afford fancy gifts for me He would wrap up something old that belonged to him in newspapers and declare it as a birthday gift when my birthday came along. This, in the next 11 and a half minutes left that I have, is the story of the 5 gifts my father gave me and how they helped me become what I am today. When I was 10, my father gave me an old chess set. Chess is a reflection of life, they say, and as cliched as it sounds, it's probably true. The first thing it teaches you is that every move has a consequence, whether you perceive that it does or does not. Nothing you do, not a single moment, is empty of living. So think of things through, not always, but often enough, so your life does not feel as black and white and as uniform as the squares on a chessboard. Sometimes, in order to move forward, you might need to take a few steps back. And there's no loss in doing something that hurts in the short run, but proves worthwhile in time. Sometimes, the queen might seem sexy. They always do. But if she gets taken by your adversary straight after you save her, then you might be better off saving your castle or the bald bishop instead. So don't always choose that which seems more desirable if something tells you it's going to get you into a whole lot of trouble. What I mean is also about tonight, drive home while your wits are about you instead of staying and getting stoned senseless after the party here. You can't get anywhere in chess if you don't look out for the little ones around you, the small pawns. Life is like that too. If you forget the smallest of your people or become foolish enough to imagine that the little graces you are given are of no value, you end up nowhere. When you look around you, learn to notice all the tiny little things that make your existence privileged and special. Just the fact that you are here, in this very moment, at this fantastic school, in the company of such adoring parents, is the product of immense love, hard work, and sacrifice on the part of many people present here. Taking your blessings for granted is the most ungracious stupidity, both in chess and in life. Then there's what they call, I don't know how to pronounce it, but sounds very cool, the Zugzwang. The Zugzwang, yeah. It's a really cool word. It sounds like a Chinese aphrodisiac. Zugzwang. But it actually is German for, okay, I'll tone this down. Oh fish, I got to get out of here. Anyway, for those of you who've never played the game, it's when you get so stuck that whichever move you make is a bad move. It'll happen to each and every one of you at some point in your lives for sure. A moment will come when it will look like there isn't anything going right and nothing you can do to prevent disaster. Ask me, I just finished Dilwale, followed it up with Fan. So, when you are in Zugzwang, kids, don't panic. Whenever there is trouble and you know there is no way out of disaster, don't panic. With a little embarrassment, you will survive it. Trust me. All you have to do is make a move. All you have to do is move on a bit. As the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland said, when Alice came to the fork in the road, if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter which road you take. I will add to it. As long as you take one road and don't keep standing in the middle of the fork until a truck runs you over. Often in Zugzwang, your enemy wins that particular move, but mostly you end up winning the game. There were no computers when I was a kid, nor were there iPhones for us to Google pornography on, while our parents were busy checking their selfie likes on Instagram. One of the most precious gifts my father gave me was an Italian typewriter. I learned how to use it from him, how to roll paper into the roller and press the lever, I don't know if you guys have seen a typewriter. Google it, yeah. Yeah, the clicking sound of the letters as I pressed them with my fingers, forming words on blank pages, fascinated me. To use a typewriter well, you needed diligence. One wrong letter, and the whole exercise had to be started all over again. We used something called Typex to erase our mistakes in those days, not to sniff at during math classes. But too much Typex in math classes or in typewriting is unacceptable. So So we had to learn how to move our fingers accurately, to make words out of thoughts with efficiency, and do it over and over again till we got it just right. As an adult, I have come to understand that there is nothing of more value than your capacity for diligence and your ability to work hard. If you can outwork your adversaries and your employees, you can ensure your own success in whatever it is you choose to do. Whatever you're doing, do it once. Then do it one more time, even more carefully. Practice will make everything seem easier. Be diligent, be thorough. Think of every job you do as the first one. So you have to get it right or you won't be able to impress everyone. And at the same time, do it as your last job, as if you will not get a chance to do it again ever. Don't just outwork yourself. Only parents clapping. In fact, you can outwork yourself. If you can outwork yourself, then pretty much nothing can prevent you from glory. When my father gave me a camera, and the most beautiful thing about it was that it did not work. We all have those Leica ones, old ones, which don't work, look really cool. I learned that things don't always have to be functional to fulfill a need. That sometimes when things are broken, the greatest creativity emanates from their fragments. I found myself looking at my world magically through the unusable lens, and the fact that there was never any actual photograph to see taught me my most important lesson yet. That creativity is a process of the soul. It does not need an outcome or a product for the world to accept. It needs only the truth of its own expression. It comes from within and makes of your world whatever you wish it to make. So don't be afraid of your own creativity. Honor it. It doesn't always have to be seen or approved by those around you. It is an expression of your deepest self, and it belongs as much to you as it does to the universe that nurtures and inspires it. All creativity is not for everyone to like or understand. All art is not up for sale. Some creativity has a bigger role to play. It is to keep you company when you're alone, when you need a friend. When the world doesn't seem to understand you, your creativity, whatever that may be, I know a friend of mine who makes dolls out of bath bags from aeroplanes. Whatever your creativity is, your creativity will be the only thing that will keep you inspired and satisfied. Honor it to the end, whatever it may be. Mine is poetry. I write rubbish poetry. It's so bad that sometimes I cringe to read it myself. It's crap. But I write it. It is my secret place. It is mine to make me feel free and happy. So you find yours, and if the world loves it, good. If it doesn't, even better. Because now you will truly have a friend. So keep your creativity intact. My father was a funny guy. He had the capacity to turn any kind of serious situation in a way that it seemed less stressful, with a bit of humor. Without a sense of humor, the world will always be a dull and dreary place. No darkness or despair should ever be beyond a good and a hearty laugh. I'm going to tell you a few incidents. If you're not bored, I have about 7.5 minutes left. We used to live on the 3rd floor of an apartment building, and as people on 3rd floor tend to do, my friends and I used to throw things down from the balcony. Wrappers, tidbits, dog shit wrapped in newspapers, the usual stuff, yeah. One day, the old gentleman on the ground floor, there always is an old senile gentleman on the ground floor. He had had enough of our daily droppings. He charged at us, yelling at the top of his voice, Bhai Sahab, ऊपर से चीजें नीचे आती हैं. ऊपर से चीजें नीचे आती हैं. The whole mohalla, the colony emerged to witness the spectacle. My father was there. I was mortified. And he kept screaming, ऊपर से चीजें नीचे आती हैं. And my father calmly looked at him and said, चाचा जी, ऊपर से चीजें नीचे आती हैं, ये न्यूटन ने बहुत सालों पहले बताया था. आप कोई नई बात बताओ, अंदर बैठ के चाय पी के बात करते हैं. And it instantly diffused the situation. The old man smiled. We went into the apartment, worked out how dog shit needs to be disposed of properly. Over a cup of tea, and life was back to normal again. And there was another incident I'm going to relate. I had been eyeing this attractive, dusky girl who lived in our building. As smooth as I have always been with ladies, for some reason it occurred to me that if I blew up her letterbox with a Diwali cracker called Atom Bomb, she'd be very impressed with me. I've always been good with girls like that, yeah. I know things girls like. In this insanely romantic belief of mine, her letterbox soon exploded before her eyes. And I still don't know why the desired effect of running into my arms in slow motion was replaced with a screaming drama in which she flew up the stairs screaming, "Amma, come here, Amma, inge va, Amma, inge va." She was a Tamilian lady, yeah. I took my chance, and as all macho men should do, I fled the scene. A few hours later, the doorbell rang. I looked through the magic eye, and the mother of the love of my life was standing outside looking incensed. I found a place to hide. My father opened the door. The lady began to rattle off a complaint. "Your son this, your son that, sorry, my Tamil is not good, but it sounded like that." And he listened patiently and then responded, "You know, ma'am, as you were speaking, I was getting angry with my son. But then suddenly I realized how beautiful you are. And I can imagine if your daughter looks anything like you, how can my son be blamed for falling in love with her and behaving so stupidly?" The lady went silent as my father continued telling how beautiful she was. And then she became a little coy. Another cup of tea was had, and she said to me sweetly, "Beta, just because my daughter is so beautiful, you shouldn't behave badly with her. You should come home, sit with us, and be friends." So not only did my dad get me off the hook for blowing up the girl's letterbox, he actually got me inroads to a long, satisfying relationship with the love of my life that lasted 6 days. Because then I realized that dating beautiful girls has its downside. Every boy in the colony made advances at her, so I was regularly beaten up in my attempts to offer her some boy-friendly protection. But that's another story. The point being, learn to laugh at yourselves every chance you get. If you can manage not to take yourself too seriously, no matter how big a shot you become, or how lowly, useless, trivial you feel, you will instantly disarm life's power to beat you down. It makes you braver to face ugliness because it changes your perspective. Humor is actually the deafness to see the world, the reality, for the transient farce it really is. It's like a talisman for survival. Cultivate it and allow it to lighten every heavy moment. Wear it like a vulgar tattoo if you don't already have one. Don't ever let it get washed away in the turbulently beautiful seas of life. It's your ticket to staying young and childlike forever. And you'll realize why it matters to stay childlike when you're my age. And you watch this speech on YouTube with your children. I'll probably have kicked the bucket by then, having smoked enough cigarettes to light up a forest. But I certainly hope that you will have understood what I understand now. No, not that smoking kills, that part is okay. But what I'm referring to is what counts as the most beautiful and final gift that my father gave me. I only realized it was a gift on the day he died, when I was 15 years old. A gift your parents have given to you already. Yes, the singularly most exquisite gift you and I have been given is the gift of life itself. There is nothing that marks a man or a woman out from the ordinary more perfectly than grace. Grace is the consciousness that life is bigger than we are, and therefore our gratitude for it must match its vastness. It is the understanding that everyone we encounter, whether they are loving towards us or offensively abrasive, is a human like we are. It is knowing that experiences shapes human beings, and no matter how good we are at something or how successful we may become, we are never better than the other person. If you can live your life with grace towards those around you, you will accomplish more than you could if you became the President of America. That came out wrong, knowing that Donald Trump is so close to becoming the President of America. I didn't mean that. I'll rephrase that, guys. If you can live your life with grace towards those around you. Okay, actually, what the hell? Because I came and told you a secret that I write rubbish poetry, I'm going to read out a poem and end this. This is the most rubbish poem you'll hear, but keep it in your heart because I'm the damn chief guest tonight. If your after party EDM, I assume this is the music. I thought I'd be very cool if I used the word EDM. Is EDM cool still? Class of 2016, is it cool? No? Okay. If your after party EDM Stone Sunrise has found you, with dog ship, wrappings, and friends that will not confound you, and you start on this journey with a brave heart about you, if you live life with grace towards those around you, you'll get where you have to, and it won't astound you. If it isn't Ferraris and a White House that downed you, you won't need an entourage to always surround you. It's your truth you will have that will shelter and ground you. And you'll remember this day as the day that unbound you. From the walls of this beautiful school and the teachers, exams and all the rules that sometimes seem to hound you. And let me tell you, you all will be successful. Let me remind you. Now it was remind, but because it's not rhyming, so So boys and girls, go forth, be free, have fun, make wrong choices, make mistakes. You will still succeed because the gift of education you have from this wonderful institution called Dhirubhai Ambani International School. The love Nita has given you and the genes that your parents have provided you with will always look after you. And when you succeed, don't forget to thank your least favorite teacher because he or she actually cared for you the most. Love you all and be happy.
Thanks for coming. I was saying to reporters yesterday, I was really nervous about asking you. First of all, because it's one of those things, I was so nervous about asking you.
And then you asked me, and I was like, move my vacation, I'd do anything for Oprah.
I want to know when you got clarity for yourself about the vision of creating Gaga.
Well, you know, at first, when I was younger, I went through a lot of struggles in high school. I was really bullied. I didn't feel good about myself. And I got made fun of, like, why do you want to be a singer? Why do you want to be a musician? Why do you want to be an actress? And I felt so secluded and isolated, and it was time, once I dropped out of college, I will admit, stay in school. But I dropped out of college because I was like, I have to pursue my dreams as a musician. This is what I want. And it was in creating Gaga that I was able to create a superhero for myself. It was a vision for the me that I wanted to be. I wanted to be confident. I wanted to be filled with self-compassion. I wanted to be filled with compassion for others. And I wanted to share my story and my vision of the world with the world.
And so you created this sort of alter person, Gaga.
Who now has become me also. I mean, I don't know what happened, but it just sort of, but that's what happens. When you have a vision for yourself, you see, you can be here, right? And then you have your vision, and then all of a sudden,
the two merge.
They come together.
You become aligned.
Yes.
And you say that Lady Gaga, the creation of Gaga, actually gave Stephanie the wings to fly.
Gaga, myself, has given me the wings to fly. And what I was going to, add is that now, after almost over a decade of being in the industry, I really recognize my position that people are watching me. Now, I could hyper-focus on being objectified or being in tabloids or being gossiped about. But you know what? I'm thinking to myself, oh, the world is watching, and I have something important to say, and I want to change people's lives, and now my mission is different, and I have a responsibility to this whole world.
Yes. Because one of the things that we discussed in Elle, one of the things that surprised me when we talked about it in the recent Elle magazine, I was saying you have spent a lot of time shocking the world. That meat dress was the first time we all were kind of aghast. And you said you have now reached a point in your life where you don't feel the need to create some identity of shocking people?
Yes, I think it was something that I enjoyed to bemuse people, you know, so that they would listen to the music and that there was sort of a state of confusion of who is this woman? I don't really, I'm like, it's kind of like, you know, watching a train wreck, you know? But the truth is that that was part of my art form, was how do I get people to see and watch and listen and become engaged with me on a personal level, even though it felt quite superficial, I think, for a lot of people. And it's changed since then because, number one, it's no longer shocking to have pink hair. And number two, I think the most shocking thing that I could possibly do is be completely vulnerable and honest with you about my life, what I've been through, the struggles that I've seen, that I've also been a part of, and share that with the world so that I can help other people who are suffering. And one of those things that I deeply care about is mental health.
Yes. Someone had asked you, what do you see when you look at that Oscar, and you say you see a lot of pain. And was that because of the hard work, or is that because of the actual physical, mental pain that you had to go through up until that moment to get it?
Well, it's not a huge secret, but some of you might not know, and the audience that has it might be saying, don't tell me that my fibromyalgia is in my head, because my whole body hurts. And even sitting here with you today, I'm in head-to-toe pain. But what's interesting about it is that I have found through neuropsych research and my relationship with my doctors that fibromyalgia can be treated through mental health therapy. And mental health is a medical condition. It should be treated as a medical condition. It should not be ignored. And
So twice you've said you have mental health issues.
Yes.
What does that mean for you? Because as I was sharing with you on the phone, I have a girls' school with girls who've come from traumatic backgrounds.
Yes.
And I didn't know until I started the school, because I had this idea that I'm going to create the school and everybody's going to come and they're going to get an education, they're going to go out in the world and everything's going to be fabulous. I had no idea the impact that trauma
yes.
has on your mental health.
Well, I've shared this with you, and I will share it again, very vulnerably with all of you. I could open my book and read it, but I'll just tell you. So I was raped repeatedly when I was 19 years old, and I also developed PTSD. And
As a result of the rape?
As a result of being raped, and also not processing that trauma. I did not have anyone help me. I did not have a therapist. I did not have a psychiatrist. I did not have a doctor help me through it. I just all of a sudden became a star and was traveling the world, going from hotel room to garage to limo to stage, and I never dealt with it. And then all of a sudden, I started to experience this incredible, intense pain throughout my entire body that mimicked actually the illness that I felt after I was raped. So what that is
Were you
called,
raped by someone you knew?
I was raped by someone that I knew repeatedly, and it was a trauma response. So when you asked me about what fibromyalgia is, what I would like for you to know and to shine a light on is that many people don't know what it is, and we need to all get together and figure this out. And this is how we're gonna do it. There's the neuropsych aspect. There's also an immunity aspect, that where there is a possibility that the immune system has something to do with fibromyalgia or trauma response or neuropathic pain, whatever you want to call it. And there's also some similarities in my condition to autoimmune diseases, but fibromyalgia is not an autoimmune disease. So what I take an oath as a commitment today with you is it's 2020, and for the next decade and maybe longer, I'm going to get the smartest scientists, doctors, psychiatrists, mathematicians, researchers, and professors in the same room together, and we are going to go through each problem one by one, and we are going to solve this mental health crisis.
You know what I found interesting? You became famous really quickly, even though there had been so much work put into getting to the point where we then knew you and you became famous. And you made the decision, or have made the decision, that you're not interested in just fame, but you're also looking for impact.
I want impact. I always did. I thought it was just through music at one point. I had some dreams of being an actress. And then it really was a spiritual awakening for me. I mean, I consider myself a spiritual religious woman. I don't go to church every Sunday, but I do pray every day. I prayed like 8 times before I came out here with you. I was like, God, just tell me what to say. And the truth is that once I became famous, I thought to myself, well, I will, and I want to continue making music. I will and want to continue being in movies. But I want to help people. These people that come to my shows, I don't want to just take your money and sing for you. I want to help change your life. And I have all this life experience. And I can't, you know, when I talk to God, right? And you know, whatever you want to call it for yourself, if it's God or the other realm or your angels or
By any name,
it
responds.
any gender, right? In response, when I talk to God, I say, tell me what to do, because I'm being watched, and I want to do the right thing here. So tell me what to say. Tell me how to say it, and help me see the path. And if you show me that path, I will walk down it. And do you know what, Oprah? Look where that path has led me. I am sitting right next to you.
It does it every time. Ask and you shall be given. What has been your greatest spiritual awakening?
I think my greatest spiritual awakening actually has been quite recent. I think it's that I realized that I have the chronic pain that I have for a reason. And I don't mean to be like, God gave it to me, you know? And I also don't believe in that, like, you know, karma thing where like you're sick because you did something bad.
Yeah.
But I do believe that this happened for a reason. All the things I've been through, I think they were supposed to happen. I was supposed to go through this.
Even the rape.
Even the rape, all of it. I think I was supposed to go through all of these things. I radically accepted they happened. And I think it happened because God was saying to me, I'm going to show you pain. And then you're going to help other people who are in pain because you're going to understand it.
Because you can't give what you
I
don't
can't
have.
look away.
Yeah.
Because now when I see someone in pain, I can't look away because I go, oh, no, you're in pain. I'm in pain too. And then now I'm in problem solving mode. I got my suit on and my heels and I'm ready to go.
Yes. So this wisdom came from this pain. What has been the lesson that's actually taken you the longest to learn?
How to be wise.
Ah,
See, there is the rational mind and there is the emotional mind. And I think from day to day, we all experience ourselves, if we're mindful in some type of way, which I think this is good to be mindful about, is am I operating from an emotional space today or from a rational space today? Meaning, when I say rational, I mean cerebral, like intelligence, thoughts, facts, you know, just really pragmatic. And emotional meaning like, am I operating from the heart? Am I really upset because my boyfriend broke up with me and I'm a mess, you know, and I'm just being completely irrational? Wise sits in the center. Wise is when you are both rational and emotional at the same time, and those two things meet and you become wise. And that was the lesson that I learned. I mean, I had to learn how to pull myself back from either place and then sit in the center, because actually a psychotic break, and if you look in the brain, or it's sort of a metaphor about the brain, it's like if you're centered, you're in here.
because
right?
you had a psychotic break.
I had a psychotic break. I'll explain what happened.
Okay.
So here's my brain, right? Here's my center, right? And then I was triggered really badly in a court deposition. And I just, like, this part of the brain where you stay centered and you don't disassociate, right? It went like this. It slammed down. And my whole body started tingling and I started screaming.
Where were you?
I was in a hospital. And it's very difficult to describe what it feels like, other than that you first are completely tingling from head to toe and then you go numb. But what is essentially happening is the brain goes, that's enough. I don't want to think about this anymore. I don't want to feel this anymore. Boom.
And you literally break from reality as we know it.
You break from reality as we know it. You have no concept of what's going on around you. There is nothing wrong, but you are in a traumatic state that you feel like I remember going into the hospital and screaming, why is no one else panicking? Why aren't you panicking? And then they brought a psychiatrist in, and then I'm in head to toe pain at the same time, right? And they brought in a psychiatrist and I said, can you get me a real doctor? And he was like, hey, so nice to meet you. And he sat down and I was like, I need medicine. I don't feel well. I can't feel help me, right? And then he just said, I need you to explain to me what happened today. And I was so annoyed, but I'm telling you this story because even I, who run Born This Way Foundation with my mother, was irritated that they brought a psychiatrist in to help me. I mean, that's how, like, gone I was. I was so separated from the world. And once we started talking, he realized what had happened to me. And then he ordered a medication for me that I took reluctantly at first. And then he became my psychiatrist and assembled a team for me. And I went away to a place that I go to sometimes still for like a reboot.
Yeah.
And they took care of me. And we got all of the things lined up. And I have a very unorthodox, actually, set of pills that I take. But they saved my life. And I'm very grateful.
You use medication, but you also do many other things to keep yourself spiritually sound and
Yes,
centered.
so I meditate.
Yeah.
I do transcendental meditation. It's great.
Yeah.
Bob Roth taught me.
Bob Roth taught me.
Okay. Isn't he great? He's great. Sorry.
Okay.
So I do that, and when I slip up on it, it's not the best because it's better when I do. And sometimes I can be in a ton of pain and meditate, and it goes away. It's amazing. I also work out every day, but I also listen to my body. So if I'm in a lot of pain and deep stress, I might not do either as hard of a workout, or I might, not work out at all. I do listen to my body, and I listen to what it's telling me. I do talk therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, and I also do lots of other things like opposite action, for example. So let's say you're feeling really depressed and you're at home and you've been at home for 7 days straight and you just can't leave the house, and you practice opposite action. Someone invites you to go somewhere, or you reach out to a friend and you say, hey, you want to play a game of poker? Get up, get in your car, and go. Opposite action. That's something that I do all the time.
So you're actively working on yourself all the time.
All the time, I actively work on myself. I have to. If I don't, I will sit and I will be in pain all day.
I would say gratitude is my religion. It's the thing I practice with, deep consciousness and a sense of like regularity and discipline about it. And for you, that is kindness.
It is kindness. Kindness heals the world. The earth is a slowly rotting apple on a kitchen counter.
Oh no.
It's the truth.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but it's just true. I mean, it's like you just put
The
you
earth
put
is
an
a
apple on the
slowly
counter.
rotting apple.
But it's slow. It's really slow, right? But we have to be kind to that apple, to the humanity of that apple, and we have to be kind to the environment to keep that apple alive as long as possible, and that's
Yes.
through kindness.
Yes, yes.
And I have actually my commitment here.
I want to hear your commitment.
I commit to gratitude, to bring the greatest minds I can find in the world together to one by one solve the mental health crisis that is plaguing our world. I want to create an epicenter of healing, because when I give to others, I give also back to myself.
Indeed. Lady Gaga gave up her vacation to come and sit and share her truth with us. Thank
Can
you.
I just say, Oprah, I love you.
I love you back, girl. Love you back.
Whoa, I'm running short of words right now, but I cannot afford this because I have to speak. Thank you so much for all the love, for all the warmth. Thank you for accepting me. Thank you very much. Well, I always start my talk with a disclaimer. And that disclaimer is that I've never claimed to be a motivational speaker. Yes, I do speak, but I feel more like a storyteller because wherever I go, I share a story with everyone. Well, it is a story of a woman whose perfectly imperfect life made her who and what she is today. It's the story of a woman who, in pursuit of her dreams and aspirations, made other people realize that if you think that your life is hard and you're giving up on that because you think your life is unfair, think again. Because when you think that way, you are being unfair to your own self. It's the story of a woman who made people realize that sometimes problems are not too big. We are too small because we cannot handle them. It is the story of a woman who with time realized that real happiness doesn't lie in success, money, fame. It lies within. Real happiness lies in gratitude. So I am here and I'm going to share the story of that woman. That is my story. The story of gratitude. I love you too. I love you all. I believe in the power of words. Many people speak before they think. But I know the value of words. The words can make you, break you, they can heal your soul, they can damage you forever. So I always try to use the positive words in my life wherever I go. They call it adversity, I call it opportunity. They call it weakness, I call it strength. They call me disabled, I call myself differently abled. They see my disability. They see my disability, I see my ability. There are some incidents that happen in your life, and those incidents are so strong that they change your DNA. Those incidents or accidents are so strong that they break you physically. They deform your body, but they transform your soul. Those incidents break you, deform you, but they mold you into the best version of you. And the same thing happened to me. And I'm going to share what exactly happened to me. I was 18 years old when I got married. And this thing I'm sharing for the very first time on an international level. I was 18 years old when I got married. I belonged to a very conservative family, a Baloch family, where good daughters never say no to their parents. My father wanted me to get married. And all I said was, if that makes you happy, I'll say yes. And of course, it was never a happy marriage. Just about after 2 years of getting married, about 9 years ago, I met a car accident. Somehow my husband fell asleep and the car fell in the ditch. He managed to jump out, saved himself. I'm happy for him. But I stayed inside the car and I sustained a lot of injuries. The list is a bit long, don't get scared. I'm perfectly fine now. Radius ulna of my right arm were fractured. The wrist was fractured. Shoulder bone and collarbone were fractured. My whole rib cage got fractured. And because of the rib cage injury, lungs and liver were badly injured. I couldn't breathe. I lost urinary bowel control. That's why I have to wear the bag wherever I go. But that injury that changed me and my life completely as a person and my perception towards living my life was the spine injury. 3 vertebrae of my backbone were completely crushed and I got paralyzed for the rest of my life. So this accident took place in a far-flung area in the outskirts of a very small province, Balochistan, where there was no first aid, no hospital, no ambulance. I was in the middle of nowhere in that toppled car. Many people came to rescue. They gave me CPR. They dragged me out of the car. And while they were dragging me out, I got the complete transection of my spinal cord. And now there was this debate going on, should we keep it here? She's going to die, where should we go? There is no ambulance. There was this 4-wheeler Jeep standing in the corner of the street. They said, put her in the back of the Jeep and take her to the hospital, which is 3 hours away from this place. And I still remember that bumpy ride. I was all broken. They threw me at the back of the Jeep and they rushed me to the hospital. That is where I realized that my half body was fractured and half was paralyzed. I finally ended up in a hospital where I stayed for 2.5 months. I underwent multiple surgeries. Doctors have put a lot of titanium in my arm. There's a lot of titanium at my back to fix my back. That's why people in Pakistan call me the Iron Lady of Pakistan. Sometimes I wonder how easy it is for me to describe all this all over again. And somebody has rightly said that when you share your story and it doesn't make you cry, that means you have healed. Those 2.5 months in the hospital were dreadful. I will not make up stories just to inspire you. I was at the verge of despair. One day, doctor came to me and he said, well, I heard that you wanted to be an artist, but you ended up being a housewife. I have a bad news for you. You won't be able to paint again because your wrist and your arm are so deformed, you won't be able to hold a pen again. And I stayed quiet. Next day, doctor came to me and said, your spine injury is so bad, you won't be able to walk again. I took a deep breath and I said, it's all right. The next day, doctor came to me and said, because of your spine injury and the fixation that you have in your back, you won't be able to give birth to a child again. That day, I was devastated. I still remember, I asked my mother, why me? And that is where I started to question my existence. Why am I even alive? What's the point of living? I cannot walk, I cannot paint, fine, I cannot be a mother. And we have this thing in our heads, being women, that we are incomplete without having children. I am going to be an incomplete woman for the rest of my life. What's the point? People are scared. They think I will get divorced. What is going to happen to me? Why me? Why am I alive? We all try to chase this tunnel. We all do this because we see light in the end of the tunnel, which keeps us going. My dear friends, in my situation, there was a tunnel that I had to roll on, but there was no light. And that is where I realized that the words have the power to heal the soul. My mother said to me, "This too shall pass. God has a greater plan for you. I don't know what it is, but He surely has." And in all that distress and grief, somehow or the other, those words were so magical that they kept me going. I was trying to put that smile on my face all the time, was hiding. It was so hard to hide the pain, which was there. But all I knew was that if I will give up, my mother and my brothers will give up too. I cannot see them crying with me. So what kept me going was, one day I asked my brothers, I know I have a deformed hand, but I'm tired of looking at these white walls in the hospital and wearing these white scrubs. I'm getting tired of this. I want to add more colors to my life. I want to do something. Bring me some colors, bring me some small canvas. I want to paint. So the very first painting I made was on my deathbed, where I painted for the very first time. It was not just an art piece or just my passion. It was my therapy. What an amazing therapy it was. Without uttering a single word, I could paint my heart out. I could share my story. People used to come and say, "What lovely painting, so much color." Nobody could see the grief in it. Only I could. So that's how I spent 2.5 months in my hospital, crying, never complaining or whining, but painting. And then I was discharged and I went back home. And I went back home and I realized that I have developed a lot of pressure ulcers on my back and on my hip bone. I was unable to sit. There were a lot of infections in my body, a lot of allergies. So doctors wanted me to lie down on the bed straight for not 6 months, for not 1 year, for 2 years. I was bedridden, confined in that one room, looking outside the window, listening to the birds chirping, and thinking maybe there will be a time when we'll be going out with the family and enjoying the nature. That was the time where I realized how lucky people are, but they don't realize. That is the time where I realized that the day I'm going to sit, I'm going to share this pain with everyone to make them realize how blessed they are, and they don't even consider them lucky. There are always turning points in your life. There was a rebirth day that I celebrated. After 2 years and 2.5 months, when I was able to sit on a wheelchair, that was the day when I had the rebirth. I was a completely different person. I still remember the day I sat on the wheelchair for the first time, knowing that I'm never going to leave this, knowing that I won't be able to walk for the rest of my life. I saw myself in the mirror and I talked to myself. And I still remember what I said. I cannot wait for a miracle to come and make me walk. I cannot sit in the corner of the room crying, cribbing, and begging for mercy because nobody has time. So I have to accept myself the way I am. The sooner the better. So I applied the lip color for the first time. And I erased it. And I cried. And I said, what am I doing? A person on a wheelchair should not do this. What will people say? Clean it up. Put it again. This time I put it for myself. Because I wanted to feel perfect from within. And that day I decided that I'm going to live life for myself. I am not going to be that perfect person for someone. I am just going to take this moment and I will make it perfect for myself. And you know how it all began? That day I decided that I'm going to fight my fears. We all have fears. Fear of unknown, fear of known, fear of losing people, fear of losing health, money. We want to excel in career, we want to become famous, we want to get money. We are scared all the time. So I wrote down one by one all those fears. And I decided that I'm going to overcome these fears one at a time. You know what was my biggest fear? Divorce. I couldn't stand this word. I was trying to cling on to this person who didn't want me anymore, but I said no. I have to make it work. But the day I decided that this is nothing but my fear, I liberated myself by setting him free. And I made myself emotionally so strong that the day I got the news that he's getting married, I sent him a text that I'm so happy for you and I wish you all the best. And he knows that I pray for him today. My biggest fear, number 2, was I won't be able to be a mother again. And that was quite devastating for me. But then I realized there are so many children in the world, all they want is acceptance. So there is no point of crying, just go and adopt one. And that's what I did. I gave my name in different organizations, different orphanages. I didn't mention that I'm on a wheelchair, dying to have a child. So I just told them that this is Muniba Mazari and she wants to adopt a boy or girl, whatsoever, but I want to adopt a kid. And I waited patiently. 2 years later, I got this call from a very small city in Pakistan. I got a call and they said, are you Muniba Mazari? There is a baby boy and would you like to adopt? And when I say yes, I could literally feel the labor pain. I said, yes, yes, I am going to adopt him. I am coming to take him home. And when I reached there, the man was sitting and he was looking at me from head to toe. And in back of my head, I kept thinking that, oh my God, he's going to say she's on the wheelchair, she doesn't deserve it. How is she going to take care of him? And I looked at him and I said, do not judge me because I'm on the wheelchair. But you know what he said? He said, I know you will be the best mother of this child. You both are lucky to have each other. And that day, I was 2 days old, and today he's 6. You'll be surprised to know another bigger fear that I had in me. It was facing people. I used to hide myself from people. When I was on bed for 2 years, I used to keep the door closed. I used to pretend that I'm not going to meet anyone, tell them that I'm sleeping. You know why? Because I couldn't stand that sympathy that they had for me. They used to treat me like a patient. When I used to smile, they used to look at me and say that, you're smiling, are you okay? I was tired of this question being asked, are you sick? Well, a lady yesterday at the airport asked me, are you sick? And I said, well, besides the spinal cord injury, I'm fine, I guess. But those are really cute questions. They never used to feel cute when I was on the bed. So I used to hide myself from people, knowing that, oh my God, I'm not going to see that sympathy in their eyes. It's all right. And today I'm here speaking to all these amazing people because I have overcome the fear. You know, when you end up being on the wheelchair, what's the most painful thing? That's another fear that people on the wheelchair or the people who are differently abled have in their hearts, but they never share. I'll share that with you. The lack of acceptance. People think that they will not be accepted by the people because we, in the world of perfect people, are imperfects. So I decided that instead of starting an NGO for disability awareness, which I know will not help anyone, I started to appear more in public. I started to paint. I always wanted to. I have done a lot of exhibitions. I'm Pakistan's first wheelchair-bound artist. I have done a lot of modeling campaigns, different campaigns for brands like Toni and Guy. I have done some really funny, breaking the barriers kind of modeling. There was this one by the name Clown Town where I became a clown because I know that clowns have hearts too. And then I also decided that if I really want to make the difference, I am not going to let people use me for their polio campaigns where they will make you a victim and an emblem of misery and mercy and will say that, you know what, give polio drops to your children or they'll become like this girl. I decided that I'm going to join the national TV of Pakistan as an anchor person, and I've been doing a lot of shows for the last 3 years. So when you accept yourself the way you are, the world recognizes you. It all starts from within. Thank you. I became the National Goodwill Ambassador for UN Women Pakistan, and now I speak for the rights of women, children. We talk about inclusion, diversity, gender equality, which is a must. I was featured in BBC 100 Women for 2015. I am one of the Forbes 30 under 30 for 2016. And it all didn't happen alone. You all are thriving in your careers. You have bigger dreams and aspirations in life. Always remember one thing. On the road to success, there is always we, not me. Do not think that you alone can achieve things. No. There is always another person who is standing behind you, maybe not coming on the forefront, but behind you, praying for you and supporting you. Never lose that person. Never. No matter how much I say that I couldn't find a hero, so I became one, I still want to recognize those 3 people in my life who literally changed my life completely, and I get inspiration from them every single day. Waleed Khan. Many people know about the terrorist attacks in Pakistan. We have lost many people. And I'm sharing this with a very heavy heart because we actually have lost a lot of people in this huge turmoil of terrorism. These people are barbarians. They do not see people. They're even worse than animals. They have killed people in mosques. They have killed people in churches, temples, even in schools. There was this terrorist attack in Army Public School, Peshawar, where these terrorists entered in an examination hall and they killed our children. And in that attack, that day, this beautiful boy, Waleed Khan, who was my hero, my real life hero, was the proctor who was taking care of the students, was keeping an eye on the students. Those barbarians shot him 3 times in the face, 5 times on his body, and he fell down. I was asked to give a talk in the school after a week of that terrorist attack. With a very heavy heart, I went there and I spoke. We sang a few national songs. I thought that maybe I've done my part, but deep inside, it was killing me. I could see children injured. I could see children sitting on the wheelchairs, looking at me, wondering, what next? What was our fault? Just because we were here to give examination, we have been shot. So many people, so many children lost their friends. Their classrooms were empty. The next day they went to the classroom. So this kid, Waleed Khan, I was asked that he is in a hospital right now and you have to go and see him and motivate him and tell him that it's going to be okay. And when I saw Waleed Khan coming on the wheelchair for the first time in front of me, face was all deformed. His leg was fractured, his arm was fractured. He couldn't talk, he lost his teeth. He cannot sneeze, he cannot smell. He cannot eat. And I kept thinking, what should I say? That everything is going to be all right? No, nothing is all right. And while I was juggling with the words, what to say, what not to say, this beautiful child, Walid Khan, came to me and he said, "Are you Muniba Mazari?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Baji, let's take a selfie." And with that beautiful toothless smile of Walid Khan, we took that beautiful selfie that I still have with me. I don't share that here because he was in a very bad shape that time. And that is where I realized that when I was thinking too much about his deformities, he's happy with himself. He doesn't even care. Because today he goes in the same school, and when somebody asks him that what happened to your face, why so many scars, you know what he says? "These scars are my medals and I wear them with pride." And how beautifully he says, "The terrorists wanted me not to study. I am going to study. I will become a doctor one day. And this is my way of taking revenge from those terrorists." Another real life hero, of course, my son. His name is Nile, Nile, River Nile. I learned so much from this kid. The first and foremost thing is patience. How to be patient when you know that your mother cannot walk, when you know that your mother is different from the other women, when you know that your mother cannot go out and play with you. How to stay calm. He loves football. And when we got the very first football, he was 4 years old. He was super excited. I still remember he came in the room and he said, "Mom, let's play football." And he kept the ball in my feet. And he said, "Let's kick it." And that day I felt disabled. I said, "I cannot kick the ball." And I was down with the same face. He looked at me and he said, "Well, that's all right. Your legs are not working, but your hands do. Let's play catch the ball." You know what? That day he made me realize that when you think your glass is half empty, come on, your glass is half full. It's all in here and here. Last but not least, the woman who made me realize that heroes have no gender. The woman who believed in me even when I was completely at the verge of despair, where everybody left, she was there. And every time I looked at her, without saying anything, she used to look at me and said, "This too shall pass. God has a bigger plan. And one day you will say that, oh my God, that is why God has chosen me." She never cried in front of me. She has always said that there will be haters, there will be naysayers, there will be disbelievers, and then there will be you proving them wrong. My mother. Whatever I am today, I'm nothing without her. I'm nothing without her. Thank you, Mama. I wish you were here. Thank you for making me who I am today. You know what? We human beings have a problem. Out of many problems, there is one more, and this is a self-created one. We always expect ease from life. We have this amazing fantasy about life. This is how things should work. This is my plan. It should go as per my plan. If that doesn't happen, we give up. So my dear friends, let me tell you one thing. I never wanted to be on the wheelchair. Never thought of being on the wheelchair. I was always aspiring to do bigger things, but had no idea that for that I have to pay the price to be where I am today. It's a very heavy price. This life is a test and a trial, and tests are trials are never supposed to be easy. So when you're expecting ease from life, and life gives you lemons, then you make the lemonade, and then do not blame life for that, because you were expecting ease from a trial. Trials make you a stronger, better person. Life is a trial. Every time you realize that. It is okay to be scared. It is okay to cry. Everything is okay, but giving up should not be an option. They always say that failure is not an option. Failure should be an option, because when you fail, you get up, and then you fail, and then you get up, and that keeps you going. That's how humans are strong. Failure is an option, should be an option, but giving up is not. Never. We have this thing in minds. We call it perfection. We want everything perfect. We want ourselves to be perfect. There is this image in our head about everything. Perfect life, perfect relationships, perfect career, perfect amount of money that we need to earn no matter what. Nothing is perfect in this world. We all are perfectly imperfect, and that is perfectly all right. That's all right. We were sent here not to become the perfect people. Those people who tell you how to look perfect, even those people are imperfect. Trying to fight this fear of looking imperfect. I used to be perfect. I still remember. I got this compliment years ago when I used to walk. Oh my God, look at you. You're fair, you're tall, you're perfect. Look at me now. Only the perfect eyes can see that. Only the perfect eyes will see that. Only the perfect eyes will see that. So yes, in all those imperfections, you have to listen to your heart. You don't have to look good for people. You don't have to be perfect just because other people want you to be perfect. If your soul is perfect from within, that's all right. This is all what you want. This is all what you need to be. Our society has made very weird kind of norms to look perfect and great. For men, it's different. For women, it's different. We think too much about what people say. We listen to ourselves too little. You know what makes you perfect? When you make someone smile. You know what makes you perfect? When you try to do something good for the people around you. You know what makes you perfect? When you feel someone's pain. And how beautiful pain is that it connects you with people. No other medium can connect you with others but pain. That's why I always say that I'm in pain, and that's a blessing in disguise for me. Today, just because I'm in pain and I'm on the wheelchair, I work for children. Being the head of CSR for a company, we conduct medical camps in far-flung areas of Pakistan where so many kids die because they don't have medical facilities. And I personally believe just because they cannot afford to live doesn't mean we let them die. So we give them money, we give them medical treatment, we try to heal their wounds, physical and emotional. And I also work for the beautiful people, we call them third gender, the transgender community of Pakistan. You know what connects me with them? All my imperfections. When I go and I hug them, they never judge me. And this very good friend of mine, her name is Bijli. Bijli means electricity. She calls herself electricity. And I said, are you electricity? She says, no, I'm lightning. I'm as strong as lightning. Because we have very bad power outage, so she doesn't want me to call her electricity. So she says, I am very strong. I'm thunder, I'm lightning. She came to me, and the first time I hugged her, she said, you are just like me. And I said, yes, I am like you. Because to people, we are so imperfect. So how beautiful these imperfections are, that because of these imperfections you can connect with people. Then why are we all running after being perfect? What's the point? Every time I go in public, I always smile. It's always a big toothy smile on my face, and people ask me, don't you get tired of smiling all the time? What's the secret? I always say one thing, that I have stopped worrying about the things that I have lost, the people that I have lost. Things and people who were meant to be with me are with me. And sometimes, somebody's absence makes you a better person. Cherish their absence. It's always a blessing in disguise. I always say that people are so lucky they don't even realize. You must be thinking, okay, you're lucky in what sense? Well, the breath that you just took was a blessing. Embrace it. There are so many people in the world who are dreaming to live a life that you are living right now. You have no idea. Embrace each and every breath that you are taking. Celebrate your life. Live it. Don't die before your death. We all die. We live this one routine of a day for 75 years and we call it life. No, that's not life. If you're still thinking why you have been sent here, if you're still juggling with the concept of why you are here, you haven't lived yet. You work hard, you make money, you do it for yourself. That's not life. You go out, you seek for people who need your help, you make their lives better. You become that sponge which can absorb all the negativity, and you become that person who can emit beautiful positive vibes. And when you realize that you have changed someone's life, and because of you, this person didn't give up, that is the day when you live. Always. We were talking about gratitude, why I smile all the time. I cry all night when nobody sees me, because I'm a human and I have to keep the balance. And I smile all day because I know that if I will smile, I can make people smile. That keeps me going. Be grateful for what you have, and you will always end up having more. But if you'll cry and if you'll crib for the little things that you don't have or the things that you have lost, you will never ever have enough. Sometimes we are too busy thinking about the things that we don't have that we forget to cherish the blessings that we have. I'm not saying that I'm not healthy and that makes me unlucky, but yes, it is hard. It is hard when I say that I cannot walk. It is hard to say when I wear this bag. It hurts. But I have to keep going. Because never giving up is the way to live. Always. So I'll end my talk on a very short note. Live your life fully. Accept yourself the way you are. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. I'll repeat, be kind to yourself, and only then you can be kind to others. Love yourself and spread that love. Life will be hard. There will be turmoils, there will be trials, but that will only make you stronger. Never give up. The real happiness doesn't lie in money or success or fame. I have this all, I never wanted this. Real happiness lies in gratitude. So be grateful, be alive, and live every moment. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.